Salam, salam. Inshallah, everyone is doing well. Another visit from the library. One of the things that's unique in Islamic literature, in the Islamic sciences, is the hadith scholars are really big into biographies. So we have the biographies of the people that narrate the hadith, and then therefore that kind of like started or sparked this interest in, well, we want to write the biography of everybody that we know. So it's very common that a hadith scholar, at some point in their life, in their scholarly life, they will write about their teachers, and they will write about their chains of transmission. And sometimes they write autobiographies. It's actually quite common. So I picked up one such book not too long ago, and this is an autobiography by one of the people who's in my chains of transmission, Ahmad ibn Siddiq al Ghumari, rahimahullah. And it's called Al-Bahr al-Amiq fi Marwiyat Ibn Siddiq, the deep oceans and the narrations of the son of Siddiq. It's actually two volumes, but in my copy it's sort of two in one. And the reason I'm interested in this is he's one of my favorite scholars of the modern period, and he's also the teacher of many of my teachers' teachers. I think I have one teacher that narrates from him directly. So a lot of my chains of transmission go through him. And my spiritual chain of transmission, my tariqah, goes through his father, Sheikh Muhammad Siddiq al-Ghumari radiallahu anhu. So anyway, for those reasons, I'm just kind of interested. Now, it's a fantastic sort of survey of all of the people that he met in his lifetime. We talked about Mustafa Sabri in the last video, and this is around the same. He came a little bit later. He probably overlapped with Mustafa Sabri. But a lot of the usual suspects, well, that's a bad term, a lot of the usual people, typical people around that time. But in the beginning, he has an autobiography, and he writes about himself in the third person, which is a little kind of weird. That is a little strange. But this is what caught my attention. One of the things that Ahmad ibn Siddiq al-Ghumari did is he actually raised an army in Morocco to fight the Spanish and the French. And he was a freedom fighter. And he was captured. His own people kind of betrayed him. It's a long story that I don't want to get into now. And he ended up in a Spanish jail. And he actually wrote this entire work in jail. And he says about himself, he's narrating his own biography, his autobiography. And he gets to the section where he talks about his efforts, تاريخه في مواجهة الاحتلال, in the third person, saying his, meaning my, efforts in fighting colonialism. And then towards the end, he said, وَقَدْ مَضَى لَهُ الْآنِ فِي السِّجْنِ عَامًا إِلَّا 20 يَوْمًا وَقْتُ كِتَابَةِ هَذِهِ السُّطُورِ. And as of now, as he's writing these lines, he says, I have been in jail for 2 years, minus 20 days, as I write these lines. And kind of that's where his autobiography ends, because his life, there's still another kind of part of his life. And then he gets into, in alphabetical order, he gets into all of the teachers that he narrates for. So that really caught my attention for the following reason. We always complain that we're busy, and it's like we complain that we're busy because we argue there's something else magical that we would do if we weren't busy. So the question I wanted to ask myself, and I hope you'll ask yourself too, is if you weren't busy right now, what would you be doing? The answer to that question, whether it's an amazing answer or it's a scary answer, that answer tells you who you are and what you stand for. For somebody like him, this is who he was, a scholar first and foremost. He was reading hadith, teaching hadith, writing hadith, even when he was incarcerated. Nothing would stop him from that. I could not even believe the efforts of freedom fighting that he had, because I don't know him except from the books of hadith. I just assumed that he's some kind of like scholar locked in a library and writing and memorizing and teaching all day long. I had no idea that he was raising horses and weapons and shields and feeding the army and this and that, and then arrested and then subsequently thrown into jail. But the point is that's who he was. He was a scholar. He was a scholar of hadith, and that's what he dedicated his time to. So if you left him anywhere for more than 5 minutes, that's what he's going to do, even when he was in prison. What would you do if you were in prison? What would I do if I were in prison? And that's a very big question. It's a lot bigger than you think. You just have to give it some time to settle into your mind. What would you do if you had the free time that you claim you need right now? Because if you were true to what it is you think you would do, you would find a way to do it now. That's my point. That's the point of why I'm sharing this line. He was not looking for an excuse. He doesn't complain. He was unjustly incarcerated, of course, but he wasn't complaining about his incarceration to the point where he wasn't doing the things that he needed to do. He did them, even while he was incarcerated. That's my point. If you're busy, as we always are, there's got to be something inside you that's true to you and your identity. That's what you're going to be doing no matter what, whether you're busy or whether you're not busy. One of my favorite authors, Shelby Foote, a novelist and historian, somebody asked him in an interview advice about writing. He's like, well, if you're a writer, you're going to write no matter what. There's no advice to give. If you're asking the question, you're probably not a writer, because a writer can't but write. In this case, a scholar of the hadith can't but write, or about hadith, or the scholar of tafsir can't but do tafsir. A faqih can't but engage in fiqh, engage in ijtihad, so on and so forth. So what are we? What are you? Something to think about. Hope you're doing well. Stay safe. Talk to you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.